And okay.
Farmers markets are among the oldest institutions in human history. For thousands of years, they have facilitated commerce and community between town and country. By enabling farmers to sell the fruits of their labor directly to shoppers. Today, new leaders are reinventing this ancient concept and introducing new measures of success to meet new challenges. Food access, behavior change, and business incubation. Successful 21st century farmers markets provide farmers with initial points of distribution. Consumers gain access to fresh, healthy, and local foods directly from the people who harvest them. And the town centers gain safe, animated public spaces for all to enjoy. When these three components come together, everyone wins. Farmers, consumers, and communities. But there's more. With so many people losing faith in society, farmers markets build trust and bring transparency back to the food system. To learn more about the World Farmers Market Coalition, log on to www.worldfarmersmarketcoalition.org. To get involved, visit your market. Chances are there is one near you. And if there isn't, let's change that.
Thank you so much for those who come to the studio for the first time for joining us. And that was a wonderful introduction of World Farmers Market Coalition, which I think, I hope, says very clearly what our mission and vision is for our farmers markets around the world and our vision for the world. Today, we are here to discuss for the second time. First time was September 2023. It's a lot longer time lapse than I had imagined, I had remembered, to discuss again the definition of farmers market and why. And we're going to start the discussion with why it's important to have this discussion and have the definition. So we have a video of Carmelo Troccoli, our Director General. He's in Kenya, and I'm headed there after today to help open our Nairobi Farmers Markets. It's a very exciting week for the Kenya team. And then we have a conversation with our board members. For this particular session, Ha from Vietnam representing East Asia and Oceania, and Randy from Norway representing Europe, and Jean Charles representing Mediterranean and North Africa. He's from Lebanon, and then Richard McCarthy, who's our president and board member representing North America. And then we are hoping to really have lively conversation with all of you to open up the floor. We have to do a really quick community agreement. We are spending this precious 1 hour from wherever you are in the world to join this conversation in our community. So we ask you to please be present and engaged, and we will welcome and honor multiple viewpoints that are necessarily here present in this room because we represent the entire world. We will disagree and hold judgment softly, and we will trust each other's intent in what they share, and also acknowledge the differential impact that it may have on each of us depending on where we are from physically and otherwise. We will listen to learn from one another, but we will also ask questions to understand better instead of not ask questions and misunderstand. We will make space for other people to participate actively, and we will take our own space when we need to. And we will think, because we have a lot of people and very limited time, we ask you to please think in sentences and not paragraphs. Today, as you know, we will talk about first why it's important to define farmers market and what is the role of having a definition, and what are the implications. And then we're gonna have the discussion among all of you to, name what it is and agree on what it is and what it is not. And maybe if we have time, I hope we will agree on the role of farmers markets, World Farmers Markets Coalition in really propagating and communicating this definition to the world in our movement. We're going to start with this video, and Carmelo otherwise would have spoken live with you, but he's going to talk about why do we need such a definition.
Hello, everyone, and thank you for this opportunity of another studio of the Academy of the World Farmers Market Coalition. A very simple question, but a very important topic. Just what is a farmers market? I am sure that among us, we all have an idea of what is a farmers market. And this idea, it could be different from each one of us. Moving from all around the world and talking with many people of you and knowing the very important job that you do in your country and in your community, we know how important are the farmers market and how different they are, and how different is the approach to the farmers market. Is the farmers market something that belongs to the farmers? Is the farmers market something who belongs to the consumers? Is the farmers market something who belongs to the community? These are all different approaches that are all very good approaches. The fact that we ask what is a farmers market is because developing the World Farmers Market Coalition, developing the community of the people that are working in growing a local food system, there is the need to better understand institutionally and in the community what a real farmers market is. Just two simple words: farmers and market. The farmers market is a market. This is clear. But the farmers market is a market with farmers. Is it necessary to have a definition of what is a farmers market? This is a question that we could answer in this studio today. Is it not important to have a definition? This is also another question that we can answer today. Both of them, they could have consequences that could be positive or negative for the future of the farmers market system, for the future of the farmers market world. Thanks to every one of you, thanks to every one of us, thanks to this community, the World Farmers Market Coalition, the importance of the farmers market is growing in the local institution, in the national institutions, in the international institutions. Other countries are joining us in the idea to have a farmers market system in their country. This means that it could be interesting also to have a legal framework, some guidelines internationally to implement at national level of what is a real farmers market. In any case, it is not the idea to have a clear definition of farmers market today. but to open the debate into the World Farmers Market community in order to decide all together, to define all together what these two words, farmers and market, they represent today and they can represent in the future for every one of us.
Carmelo, we will miss you. We miss you right now. Thank you for the message. So with that, before I spotlight the 4 board members who will carry on the conversation, I just want to share with you this slide. And in light of what Carmelo has shared, defining, why do we define anything? And we can also say naming something for what it is. So naming something allows you to identify it, give it a shape, give it an existence, and differentiate it from others, and for its unique features, and establish a sense of ownership and connection, and to effectively communicate about it with others. So meaning it can also, it should probably be something short enough, succinct enough that you don't have to go, wait, hold on, let me pull out a whole page of the definition I have written, right? So this is really to acknowledge its existence. And related, naming a phenomenon. I can say personally, farmers market is also a movement. So that movement of farmers market, it's a phenomenon. By naming it, it allows us for a clear understanding of it, and that enables effective communication and focus analysis and targeted plans to improve it if it's a good thing, or solving it if it's a problem. So I would say that I would start with the position that defining what farmers markets is the first step to centering in farmers markets in our movement, and our movement meaning, what we are doing together here and as World Farmers Markets Coalition. It is to be inclusive of our members, not exclusive, but this also means that we draw boundaries to what it is and what it is not. So for a, say, electric vehicle, is there very certain things that we must have in the definition? Otherwise, it's not an electric vehicle. I think it's the same thing for farmers markets. And also to think about, as we pare down the language to really keep the essential element, think about definition versus mission. Those are very related, but 2 different things. So these are the things I would love for us to have in our minds. And I will also drop these points in the chat as I stop sharing my screen, because next, I'm also going to drop this in the chat. So this is the initial definition that we've had prior to September 2023. And then, 1 second. This is the current evolving definition that we are going to discuss today. We're going to discuss both. So I'm going to drop these with Manuel in the chat for us to discuss together. But I would like to stop sharing screen and highlight our board members who will be part of the discussion today. Hello at Spotlight. Where is Randy? And then Hello, friends. I'm hoping we can spend maybe 10, 12 minutes to talk about just that. Why do we need a definition? Does anybody want to get us started? Maybe how about Ha?
Thank you, Robin. I think that is very clearly that we need a definition of farmers market, because I will speak from the perspective of a policy advocate, that whenever we want to advocate for policies that support farmers market, we need to tell the policymakers what is farmer market, what we consider farmer markets. So that's very important for us when we advocate for incentive or policy that supports farmers markets. And also this morning, I got a question from Chris about about fake farmers market and real farmers markets. So I think almost of us read his question, and in that case, a clear and unified, and concise definition of farmers markets will be very important for us to recognize which is a real one or a fake one, because I think that fake farmers markets also happen in many other countries, not only in the US. In Vietnam also, we also have such kind of situation. Yeah, that's for me. Thank you.
So to advocate our farmers market for so many things, we need to name it. And also to understand what's real from fake. So like Pringle potato chips is not potato, it's a potato-like substance versus potato. Thank you. Randy, were you raising your hand?
Yes, I did. Hi, everyone. Nice to see you. It's I think it's mainly also about preventing ordinary resellers from stealing the value of the farmer's work. Because there are so many people just being sellers, and they haven't the same proudness of the products, and they don't know everything about how the product is made, and they are only buying the things and selling them again. And that is something totally different from this farmer at our markets that has been doing everything, feeding the cow, taking the cow out to the mountain in the summertime, milking the cow, making butter and cheese from the milk, and taking care of the cow for many years, and giving birth to the calves and everything. And you're doing so much more than these sellers. So we need to prevent stealing this value of all that work, and we need to help the farmers to take good care of this value. And by bringing all those farmers together in the market under the umbrella we have, it's also much easier for the customers to recognize and understanding the value of the farmer's work, I think.
Thank you so much. You use the word steal, which is a very strong word, and I think you use it intentionally. And for us to use that word, we need a definition. You know, we need to own that like it, because that word comes from ownership. You're taking what is not yours. So what is ours? I think that's what you're saying. So to have the ownership, we need a definition. Thanks so much. JC.
Hi, everybody. Hope you're okay. So JC from Lebanon. First words would go to my brother Dennis, who's struggling to open his next market on 25th of Jan in Kenya. And I hope you will all send a supporting word to him. So I will use Randy and Has approach, and adding to the Carmelo's words, there is a farmer and there's a market, and importance of putting a definition for me is to elevate the way others see our markets. Among all, all the gatherings that has one cabbage and two carrots and name themselves, like Randy says, every sellers, they name themselves market or even farmers market, festival, fairs, all these things that are everything but has only a financial goal. For me, the farmers market need a definition also to protect one of our mission is to give the opportunity for the farmer to live decently from his work. And this is for me coming back to the definition. When we will be clear on that we are into gathering people that are working hard, but also in need of this output against all the resellers, the wholesalers, the supermarkets. And I know the supermarket because I've been there 23 years. So I know how we can destroy value by just decreasing the price, regardless of the efforts of a farmer and his work at the farm. When I say farmers, of course, we all know, and this is one of the definition we have to say, it is the producer. So I remember my very first meeting with my president. Hi, Richard. You make it, you bake it, you grow it, or something like this. I don't recall the exact wording, but it is something that there is the word you. So it is something personal, evolving with the time because you will be better and better every time. But it is you as a farmer presenting the result of your job.
Thanks so much. I heard protective and personal and evolving, not necessarily in the evolving in terms of how we preserve the definition once we have the essential elements in the definition. So protective of the farmers who sell it from the food systems, and protective of the shoppers who buy food to eat from our food systems, and protect our community. Great, thank you. Richard, I don't think I told people where you're from. You're from New York, but no longer New York City, kind of. Upstate in the beautiful New York State. Do you have anything to add to these wonderful comments?
I do. Thank you, Robin, and thank you, colleagues, for reminding us how words really do matter. As a student of political science, having sat through meetings, say, with the United States Department of Agriculture, specifically about how to define a farmer's market, you can go crazy thinking, how many weeks will we discuss every little detailed word? Well, if there is power associated with those words, then they really do matter. And I think as Ha has described the importance of local and then national policies, if those policies come with resources, then these words do have an incredible power that comes with them. I think also Ha referenced this an important question that Chris Quinlan from Canada raised on our digital thread before the meeting. Organizationally, if we do not have the power, the World Farmers Markets, to police the use of words, then how valuable is it to dive into having a definition and sticking with it? And I do think this is a really great question because it does raise the issue about how we function as a global community, as an organization. Are we using sticks, like we have the ability to say you are in versus you are out, versus how much do we use carrots? And the carrots to attract those who are in aligned with, as Randy described, preserving the dignity and the integrity of the work of the farmer. We have a certain amount of sticks, we have a certain amount of carrots. We do find that the carrots work best because it's within our reach, it's easier. It's easier to defend something that we know is very hard. But it's very hard because it's much easier to break the rules, the sort of, at the core of our definition that you've got to grow it to sell it. But I think that the importance of these legal clarifications is really at the core of why we are coming together as a global community, is to defend this practice.
And this practice involves communication. So our words are important in communication, to convey why we go to all this trouble to defend the integrity of the work of the farmer. And I think that we can go very heavy-handed, which is, more like the stick than the carrot, that you are a farmer's market and you are not, or what kind of activity is admissible within or underneath the umbrellas of the market. I think this is sort of the conversation that continues, but the more that we are able to hone our craft of the work that we do is organizing the markets with the farmers, with the consumers, then the more effective we can be to delineate what we do versus just any old market or any old retail operation that happens to call itself a farmer's market.
Thank you so much. Again, just emphasizing the power, having the power by having a definition, by steering the movement forward, and to identify what is not. We need the definition, what it is. Thank you. I am anxious and excited to move the conversation to with all of you. So Manuel, thank you so much for dropping these texts in the chat. You have it to reference. So this is where we started. This comes largely from the United States Farmers Market Coalition working definition, which something that, Richard and some of us, including myself, were involved in sort of creating since like 20 years ago. Farmers market is a recurring and managed assembly of local farmers or their employees selling directly to the public local agricultural products they have grown, harvested, and or processed is what we started with. And after September 2023 studio, where we work through every word here that is in green and bold, we changed 2 words. Farmers market is a recurring and coordinated instead of saying managed. That we have a spirited discussion in both sessions of the studio that day about why it's important to use this word of local farmers that stayed or their representatives to open up the employee boundary. Selling the rest is the same. So these are the 2, and today we are before I go there, and these are some of the just in the spirit of transparency. These words, do we put the word organic in it, or can it be part of what's already said, and can it be assumed in something? Do we say regenerative, or do we say, working towards environmental sustainability? Farmers market with the apostrophe, like a single farmer, or plural farmers, or do we not have apostrophe? What does that mean having an apostrophe? All of this is summarized in our, we have a blog written after this debate on our website, and Manuel will drop the link to this article defining our terms. So this is, if you're interested, I might imagine a lot of you are in what we discussed in terms of those words. So I'm just gonna open those here for us to think about as we look at these before and after definition. The goal today is to not rehash everything from the beginning. The goal is to see if we can come to an agreed upon definition that we proudly can own as World Farmers Market Coalition. Randy.
Yeah, thank you. When we started Farmers Market in Norway 21 years ago, we actually decided to apply for to have a registered trademark. So in Norway, we actually have the carrots and the sticks because it's not allowed to use the name or the logo without our approval. So, and of course, that kind of regulations is a little bit different in different countries, but I guess it's possible to do that in more countries. And to do that, we needed to define the market, and we needed to have some regulations to have a kind of a handbook for the markets. But we have also seen that uh, it's not so easy to prevent people from using it. But when we tell them that it's actually a trademark, they normally stop it very quickly. So it does help us, and it also tells us that the name we have is valuable when it comes to marketing and when it comes to money, and that is the reason why people are trying to steal it.
Right. Right. Thank you. There's also a farmer's market right down the street from me. It's like a storefront and they sell like veggies and fruits. And every time I pass, I have this like urge to go in there and say, you people are a fake farmer's market. But anyway, Richard, do you have a response?
I do, and I was so happy to hear you, Randy, describe the issue of the intellectual property. And many of us can go back to probably the founding of our markets where we encountered this issue. I know that 30 years ago, when establishing the farmers markets in New Orleans, we were very troubled with how to describe, to project the relationship we were wanting to establish between farmer and consumer. And when we would use the term farmers market, what we encountered from public officials, from the general public, is that that's a rather grubby, downgraded terminology, which speaks to how poorly it had been maintained as a concept, because it was like a flea market. And suddenly you really want to separate what you were doing as separate from a flea market, a place where everything is sold, old things. And we were very inspired by New York City's green market, because they were many years ahead of us in establishing their markets, and they wanted to differentiate what they were doing as clean and transparent, if not organic in its terminology of using the old English terminology, green market, to mean fresh market. And we used it and then encountered that they had trademarked that name. Maybe not fully, but enough to intimidate us to change our name. And in that journey, what was so interesting was that we reinstated the integrity, the dignity of, and the value of the term farmers market in our community. And I think it is important to think of it contextually, not only the rules and regulations as a reflection of your community, but also that this is a conversation you will be having and you continue to have with your community.
Thank you so much. Yes, yes, yes. All those as reasons for us to do this discussion today. I saw a couple of hands raised, and if you still want to speak, please keep your hand raised. I promise I will come to all of you. Yeah, you will go first. And then, when you speak, please identify where you're from. And let's, before you do that, 5 seconds, let's look at the definition the manual dropped a few minutes ago. The before and after definition. I want to know if Yaya and others who have, who will raise their hands, if you have any thoughts about, how you feel about where we are with the definition, what to be added, what is still not clear, what you like about it, and what is missing. So Yaya.
Good afternoon. I don't know the time.
Hello, wherever you are. Hello.
Good afternoon. I'm Alex Yayajo. So I'm calling from Africa, Nigeria.
Nigeria. Welcome.
Yeah, so this is my first time actually. So I really thank you for the opportunity, and let me emphasize on the topic on what you talked about, and why if I can recall, you said marketing products in the community, in our community. So my own view is that how can this be reached to our various communities, especially us we are in Africa? So how can this name be a big impact to the community? And that's my few points. So let me just get it clear from my own end here.
Thank you so much. So Yaya, are you saying that the definition that we have as of now, is this something that you in Nigeria would aspire to abide by and like really market?
Yes, that's what like I can impact on our community here in Africa.
Excellent. Thank you. And thank you for joining. I don't think I remember your name, so it might be your first time. Thank you so much for being here. I also want to just highlight Yi Jian has a question, but we're going to come to that. I just want to name it. So like, see, naming it so I don't forget. Dita, am I saying your name right?
Yes, you are.
Hello, Dita. Can you identify where you're from first?
Yes, I am first of all from Denmark, and right now I am a missionary in Tanzania. And my motivation for being here was that, first of all, I didn't see you until 1 hour ago. So I'm still trying to figure out what it is, but I know that I felt like I had to be on this meeting. When I was 7 years old, my mom, I was living in paradise in Denmark because we have all we need there. And my mom told me that not every child on earth had food in their mouth. And it was a big shock for me. So I sent a prayer to God, and he prepared me to be a missionary. So now I'm here. So my aim to be here is to ensure that that all children in the world always have a full stomach when they go to sleep in the night, so that we can create paradise around the world. But I do have some things to add, or just an inspiration for this whole farmers market thing. And I think one of the issues we see globally right now around the world is that there is a missing link of honoring the farmers. Because what we don't understand is that they're actually the ones holding our life in their hands, since they are the one producing the food for our lives to sustain our lives. So I don't think that the farmers always see how big power they actually are holding in their hands.
So do you think that definition here is attuned to what you're saying? We don't really say those words in our definition, but it's about farmers market. What do you think about this definition?
I think if you put the name, the word honor, that we ensure honoring the farmers and the power that they hold somehow. I don't want to change anything. I just wanted to put it as an inspiration.
Okay.
And then the other thing is the identity of a farmer. What is a farmer? Because if we take inspiration in Abraham from the Bible, Abraham, he grew a big family. He was a big farmer, but he didn't see it. He didn't see that his end goal was a market. He saw that his end goal as a farmer was to keep his family alive. So I think that the farmers market will grow exponentially very much faster if we put the identity on the farmers as the founding father of our lives, that they are actually the one keeping us alive, that they are the one bringing a healthy family around the world. Because then it doesn't really matter. What matters is that the honor from the farmer is that they keep us alive. So when we put that identity back to the farmers, they will start to understand the importance of the work they do. Sometimes people tend to lose the motivation of what they're doing, but yeah, you just, if I spend too much time, you just stop me, because I used to talk a lot. But there is an example from, there were some workers on a fabric working for electronic company, but they didn't know that they were working for Apple. But once you change the narrative of what they were actually doing, they were told that they were doing those microchips for Apple. They suddenly grew in honor, they suddenly grew in identity, and they became very motivated because they understood that they were the founding fathers of those Apple phones.
I don't want to interrupt, but I just want to be fair to others also, to have time to discuss. So, sorry about that.
No, I think Dita, what you are saying is what kind of farmer are we talking about here? And I think generally we say smallholding farmers. How do we define smallholding is a whole other thing. But you know, I think like to put a more specificity around what do we mean by local farmers, I think is what you are. That's how I'm translating it for the definition. Is that a fair rephrasing, Dita?
Yeah, if you put the honor, because what I see here in Tanzania is that sometimes the farmers are just being treated as the one producing carrots, but we need to honor the farmers more.
Okay.
We need to understand that if they didn't grow that carrot, we would end up dying at some point because we couldn't put the carrot in our mouth. So instead of, and I see those small hubs, they don't have good working environment and stuff like that.
So you're suggesting we're adding honoring farmers and possibly define what we mean by farmers, or further define is what you're saying before I move on. Yeah, okay, great. Thank you so much, Tite. Amanda, hi.
Morning. I'm Amanda Edmonds from Michigan. I'm a farmers market consultant and researcher, and I concur generally with the definition. I've been working with USDA related to the definition, but I want to ask a question that maybe is actually controversial in terms of what I see in the sector. I do contracted work with the Farmers Market Coalition in the US as well. So I see and work with a lot of farmers markets across the country, is whether it is whether boundaries are on the definition, and or is it aspirational? And I say that thinking about the viability of many small farmers markets, who I would say have the aspiration of being entirely producer based, etc. But that actually may not be what is the reality based on availability of farmers in their area. You know, that they've maybe got a core of a couple main farmers, and the others are reselling from other farmers, say, not necessarily resellers from far away. Maybe it's farmers who are also reselling from other farmers, which I actually was something we allowed at our markets that we thought was okay because it was still local produce and it made it more viable for that farmer to come. They brought their own stuff and their neighbor's stuff too, and that was labeled and understood. But I see even statewide in the US farmers market associations making a broader definition, because they want people
what is that? What is that broader definition? How would you, what is your suggestion?
I'm not suggesting changing this definition, actually. I'm just observing how some others have done it, including like keeping the definition really loose and not having exact words, so that anyone could come under the umbrella who at their core wanted to have local farmers selling the product, but that was not necessarily the reality in their place of how to keep a market viable. So I am not saying that I support that.
No, okay, got it.
I'm just making this note about, is the definition used to be aspirational or sort of definitive of this and only this, and what that means in different contexts in different places around the world, of how to have a viable something that is getting at that, but maybe is not exclusively that.
I really appreciate that question, Amanda. Very important one. Can I ask the board conversationist here to drop in the chat what you think is the definition, what it is, or should it be aspirational? Ian, I'm gonna go to you while they think about what they're gonna put in the chat.
Okay.
Hi, Ian.
Hi, how you doing?
Great to see you.
Good. Yeah, a couple of points, and Amanda makes a very good point about viability, which I'm relating to really. firstly, I'd not like to see us accidentally exclude what I call secondary producers, who are maybe bakers. They're not milling the wheat, but they are buying their flour locally and their ingredients locally. Or so to say just farmers excludes a whole swathe of people who I personally would include on the market, because they are sourcing their materials from the people that we would normally welcome onto the market, the local farmers. And the second thing is, I think the definition as it stands is pretty good, and I think it should be a core definition. So adding things like organic to the definition just wipes out a whole swathe of viable farm markets across the world. But if you have a core definition and you can call yourself an organic farmers market or a regenerative farmers market, or whatever it is, you can hang those things off the core definition when you set your market up. I think that will work a lot better. So I think we should keep it as a fairly core definition if we can. That's it.
Thank you so much. That's really, I was going to say something similar, but you totally said it very eloquently. And I am looking at Yi-Jen's question. So how specific do we get? That's a question on, are we trying to be inclusive or exclusive? And being inclusive, I think, is also a little different from saying, let's let everybody in. Let's be, let's not have parameters. Those are different. So I think if I remember this well, at the last studio year and 15 months ago, we said, when we say local, smaller countries like South Korea, they could mean like just from Korea, like South Korea, as opposed to just from our province, right? And in New York, it could be New York State. So the local, we put local in there for the market, coordinators and managers to decide what that means for them. And also, is that 100%? Is that 15%, 20%? Or what percent of green vendors should we have as opposed to bakers? So those percentages, local and the words in our definition will be determined by your local and contextual context to figure out. So that also goes in terms of organic. That's our thinking. I'm not saying this is the way we should do it. The thinking that we had of not putting organic in there is some countries, like I guess a little to Amanda's point, just do not have, organic facility to be able, or it's not in their cultural context to be able to make it 100%. So then that's up to the coordinating body to decide how organic, if organic, but there's an aspirational element there too. So these are all the sticking points. I hope I'm addressing Yi-Jen's question. Please let me know if it was not sufficient. Anyone, did anybody, the board? Richard,
Well,
do you want to?
I'd love to just hop in. I really
yeah.
appreciate, Ian, your reference to a core definition. This is the guiding principles, the universe in which we operate. If that is present, we trust the wisdom and the knowledge that the local markets have in place to determine what percentage of their market should be farmers, what percentage of the ingredients for the value-added processors, the bakers and such that you described, should include local products. Those rules are reflective, that you determine, are reflective of the health of your local food system. And it's a journey. There is no, it's not black or white. There's a lot of gray zone. And in that gray zone, we have to determine our operating principles based on a set of values that is codified, so to speak, in this kind of operational or core definition. So thank you for bringing in those pieces.
Thank you, Richard. And also the comment about the good one, this comes up every time. I want to ask all of you. Digital market, online market, do we like say it explicitly in our definition or do we not? What is it? Is online farmers market a farmers market? I think that's okay. So I'm going to put the context. So if in addition to a physical farmers market, the farmers who sell there are also selling online, is that the same thing as completely 100% digital farmers market? That's already in my mind missing a iffy on the local definition. What do others think?
Well,
Raise your hands. Okay, sorry, I cut you off, Richard. You go ahead.
Well, just quickly to say that as a core element of the functioning market is the public space, the public element of it. So the physicality is where the place where we learn and where we reconnect. Now that place can be, as we learned during the pandemic, a proxy for relationships that can extend beyond the market, just as the market is an extension of the farm and legally is the extension of the farm in many places. So the idea that it's a proxy of relationships that are place and time bound can also, we can push those. I do believe that they need to be codified as online because technology will change, but that they are direct relationships, managed direct relationships, then does allow for online and other kinds of CSA deliveries, all these things that we think are an important extension of the market, because the market, again, is not the end point. I think Carmelo is very good and Campagna Amica is very good in really making this point in their work. The market is a starting point. It is a tool for something much larger, which we've heard earlier about the integrity of the farmer and the value.
So you're saying not include. Okay. Anybody have an opposing opinion about that? This is a safe space. You can disagree. Anyone from the board here? I know we've already chatted here, but what about the words like organic, regenerative, apostrophe, who owns the market? Yes, Randy.
In some countries, it's possible to have some farmers market there is only organic. And I visited Germany last week, and they have a lot of all organic markets. But some of them, they have resellers and they have imported goods as well. So in my opinion, that is not a farmer's market, but they call it an organic market and not a farmer's market. So there's a lot of possibilities, but it's also possible to have a farmer's market that is all organic. But I guess most places it's not possible. In Norway, that wouldn't be possible. So
that's about, if I were to finish your sentence, leave that to the managers, the coordinating body, to figure out what makes most sense locally while uplifting and keeping the integrity of our definition. Yeah. Okay.
that is also why we need this core definition, but we also need to give some things left to the locals.
I think we will call it core definition instead of definition. I thought first it was a little redundant, but I think it might just re-emphasize. It has an emphasis effect by calling it core definition. Cheryl, it's great to see you.
Yeah, you too. Hi, everybody. Just going back to a few previous remarks. I was at a market. I'm not going to say farmers market. A few weeks ago in Oxford, they called it a farmer and producer market. We only had one vegetable stall there. Things that they grew, they labelled that they grew. Others they didn't. And I was very kind of appreciative. It was a very small market that if they hadn't got that stall there, they wouldn't have had a market at all. So my kind of feeling is, if you can't adhere to farmers market rules, don't call it a farmer's market. I just love to hear what other people are thinking about that. To me, that's really clear. There's so much customer confusion, as so many people have said today about going to a market and seeing resellers. If it's possible to stop people from doing this, I'd love to hear what Amanda was saying about the definition of in law, how that actually happens. That's really interesting. That's the first time I've heard about that.
Thank you so much. Totally agree. Michael Bresler.
Hi. Yeah, I'm from the Pretoria Boeremark in South Africa.
Hello.
Part of the management there. We have between 300 and 350 vendors at our market. Actually, one of the first markets established, first farmers market, we're very proud of it, established by one of the land agricultural unions in South Africa about over 30, 32, 33 years ago. So just to maybe provide our perspective. So like I said, we're very proud. We're part of agricultural union in South Africa. We're very much part of the farmers communion, and we have a lot of farmers we're supporting. But what we've found is that a lot of, for instance, South Africa, we plant a lot of our own. We have a vast range of vegetables, fruit that we grow in our country. We have a huge area. We have different weather, different seasons. But what we found is, for instance, cherries and certain fruit is only available at certain times of the year. So as much as we have a responsibility to the farmers, we also have a huge responsibility to our consumers. So what we've resorted to is importing. So we have a reseller at our market. He also farms. But if certain fruit isn't in season, you'll actually import certain cherries from Egypt, where it's grown there by farmers. He communicates with the farmers there, and he'll import it. So we can provide throughout the year. We can provide cherries. We can provide fruit to the consumers, and it just expands on our product base to our consumers. And we are open 4 hours on a Saturday. Every Saturday of the year, and we have between 5,000 and 7,000 people visiting our market between those 4 hours. Why? Because we have this available. And just to add to the what's included on the farmers market, throughout our years we've had not only farmers coming to sell, but farm workers. So they're not necessarily selling their product, but they're selling what they make on the farm while they're staying there. They make arts and crafts, or make something with wood, and they form part of our farmers community, and I think it's worthwhile flagging the importance, because without them we'll have loads of open stalls, and it's important to provide a full basket to our consumer. Ultimately, how we see our markets, to end with, is that we need to provide a full basket to our clients. So we have our farmers there, we have our arts and crafts there, we have things that are homemade, clothing, we have something to drink, something to eat. We're providing a full basket to everyone, and on an emphasis on our farmers, our flower farmers, our vegetables, our meat farmers, all of that. But we can't have a sustainable market. What Cheryl, I think, was saying, we can't have a sustainable market.
Michael, thank you so much for sharing and giving us the great picture of your market. I think that that's really helpful, and we're at time, so I am trying to wrap up here. And I think that what you said, also makes me think about, how do we balance the, sustainable, like a revenue of the market, and what you define as local. Local, is that local in season? Is that the same thing? I think that having this core definition of farmers market might be able to help us determine what is the most important thing for your market and how you might balance it. We are over time, so I'm going to go to you. I am coming to Bradley and Ian, and I hope you can stick around just for a few more minutes. I also saw Bradley. I'll let you speak in a second. Please be brief. I saw your comment about policing. Is that our job that's a question. And who are we here? Are we talking about farmers market operators? Having a definition is the role of definition for us. I'm talking when I say us, our members of World Farmers Markets Coalition and the coalition itself. It is to name what it is, but is that really to police it? And I don't know what your definition of policing might be. So I'll let you speak about that briefly, please.
Good afternoon, good morning, wherever you are. I'm Bradley. I'm over here in the United Kingdom in Birmingham. I'll be very, very quick because I know it's 1 o'clock.
Yes.
But policing in terms of policing what a real farmer's market is. And it's pretty much what others were just saying, that you're getting these new markets popping up that are not a real farmer's market. They're an artisan market. And I think artisan meaning crafts, a mixture of food, mixture of more crafts, and fakeness. It's not a real actual farmer's market. And I think if we want to protect what we are as a World Farmers Market Coalition, we need to make sure that we proudly secure what a real farmers market is. And we can do that in England, we can do it in America, we can do it in Africa, but we need to do it as a global type of thing to make sure that we're all universal and that we are all aligning together. It's not going to be easy, but then if we have the protection, the trademark of what a WFMC is, then it can be done. But I'll just shut up there and I'll talk more soon. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much for sharing your thought. Ian.
2 things quickly. If you're running a market that doesn't meet the definition and it's providing a lot of things, as the speaker before had, I see no reason why you shouldn't have a farmers market section physically as part of that, ring fenced off, and then you can have the best of all worlds and be viable. Second is, I'd never really thought about a digital farmers market, and so this is kind of on the fly. My gut feeling is no. I'm with Richard on that one. This is a community communication thing as much as anything. If you have an online presence, no reason why you shouldn't direct your customers off to a producer-led other forum or market, but not take ownership of that. That's it.
Thank you so much. Yes, Ian, and I'm just going to end our conversation with the last slide. So this is what we have. I think, again, we're going to call this core definition, meaning it is really beautiful to have CSA and online, all other forms of, selling. But I think that it is important for us to also distinguish what a farmer's market is and what those entities or mechanisms are not. So I'm going to read this. I hope you do also along with me. Farmers market is a recurring and coordinated assembly of local farmers. Again, these words are to be defined by the management, a coordinating body of the farmers market or their representatives selling local agricultural products they have grown, harvested, and or processed directly to the public, as in the consumers. So these words are carefully chosen to be broad enough for the local bodies to define. So recurring, is that weekly, twice a week, is that monthly? But recurring is the point, that it is not a one-time thing. So on and so forth. How do you define local? Kilometers, or are we talking the entire country or certain provinces? Farmers, what do we mean by farmers? The suggestion of honoring farmers or even further defining what we mean by farmers came up. So we will take that back and ponder on that. We will struggle with that. This is what we have right now. And if this is, I hope this.
Can I make a quick comment, please?
Okay, you have 15 seconds.
Perfect. I'm just worried about the process and also the challenge we have with ultra processed food currently. So I think we may have to look at processed again as a word, whether we really want to have it
the
there.
way that we say it here is they have processed themselves. So this is by definition not hyper processed or ultra processed. So we're talking about, for example, bread or jam. the stuff that they have grown for the most part. Again, this is for the locals to decide what this specifically means, but process in the US, we call it value added. So it's it's from the product they grow. So by local farmers, it is not possible for them to have.
I think we just be careful of using the word processed at all in the definition. We just have to be careful with that. Thank you.
Thank you for the sentiment. Yes, this was the discussion we had about, selling the, stuff that are not like greens and fruits, but things that we make with them. So this is what we have. And I think that we didn't get to discussing, how we can communicate this broadly and widely to the world. And that is something that we will discuss together in the future and through our WhatsApp and our newsletter. So stay connected. And it's so great to see so many of you today. And happy belated New Year to everybody. There's already a lot going on in this world. A lot of, I'm particularly thinking about all the unfortunate events that are happening here in the US and around the world. But we got each other. We got one another. It will be better together. And we are very grateful for this membership and this body of like-minded individuals as part of our movement. Thank you, Richard, Jean-Charles, Randy, and Ha for being here. Thank you, Manuel, and Carmen, the interpreter, to be here to help us. Thank you, everybody, for being here. Sorry we went over. We'll see you next month or in a few hours if you can't get enough of us. We'll see you again. Thank you so much.
Thank you, everyone, for the
Bye.
conversation. So interesting. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.